September 10th, 1939. The Polish countryside, once peaceful and green, trembles beneath the iron tread of German tanks. The sky is thick with the stench of oil and the thunder of artillery. Amidst this chaos, in a battered concrete bunker near the village of Wizna, a lone Polish officer stares death in the face. For 3 days, he and his men have held out against impossible odds. Now, as the walls shake and bullets cut the air, he makes his final choice, not to surrender but to sacrifice himself, detonating a grenade rather than give up his post. This is the end of one of the most incredible last stands in military history. 720 defenders against 42,000 invaders, 3 days of unrelenting fury. This was the Polish Thermopylae. To understand how ordinary men became legends at Wizna, let's go back to the start. Late August 1939. The world is holding its breath. War is on the horizon. Captain Władysław Raginis, just 31 years old, receives orders that few would envy. He's placed in command of a half-finished fortress on Poland's northeastern border. The position? Wizna, a collection of bunkers and trenches that are little more than a line in the sand. His men? 720 soldiers, farmers, shopkeepers, and students, most with barely a month's training. Their arsenal is pitiful: 6 battered artillery pieces, 42 machine guns, and a grand total of 20 anti-tank rounds. Hardly enough to stop a determined enemy, let alone the might of the Nazi war machine barreling toward them. 3 days before the carnage begins, Raginis gathers his men. He knows the odds. He's read the reports: massive German columns, tanks, aircraft, overwhelming firepower. But in that moment, he makes a promise that will echo through history. We will not leave this position alive. Every inch of Polish soil will be paid for in German blood. For some, these are just words. For Raginis and his men, it becomes an oath. The enemy is coming. And not just any enemy. The German 19 Panzer Corps, commanded by none other than Heinz Guderian, the architect of Blitzkrieg. Guderian's reputation is already legendary. He will later crush France in 6 weeks, shatter nations, and rewrite the rules of warfare. But at Wizna, he faces a challenge he never expected. His force is a juggernaut. 42,000 troops, 350 tanks, 108 howitzers, and nearly 1,000 machine guns. For every Polish defender, there are 60 Germans. To the Nazis, Wizna should be a speed bump, nothing more than a brief halt on the road to Warsaw. But as dawn breaks on September 7th, the first Polish cavalry scouts see the impossible, an endless river of German armor rolling out of the mist. They race back to warn Raginis. The countdown to the battle begins. The Germans reach the Nari River, expecting to drive across with ease. But the Poles are waiting. As the lead tanks approach the bridge, Polish engineers detonate explosives, sending concrete and steel tumbling into the river. The Germans are forced to stop, their advance stalled for the first time. That night, under cover of darkness, German infantry cross the river in boats, probing for weak spots. The fields are tense, silent, until suddenly bursts of machine gun fire cut the night, tracers lighting the sky. The Germans, caught in the open, are cut down. Wizna will not fall easily. The next morning, the psychological war begins. German planes drop thousands of leaflets, fluttering down like ominous snow. The message is simple. Polish soldiers, you are hopelessly outnumbered. Surrender now and save your lives. Raginis reads the leaflet, tears it in half, and addresses his men. Gentlemen, we made a promise. We fight to the last man. September 9th dawns with a fury unmatched. Guderian unleashes his full arsenal. Artillery shells scream overhead, pounding the bunkers relentlessly. Stuka dive bombers howl through the sky, dropping bombs that shake the earth. The defenders grip their rifles, bracing for the onslaught. The bombardment is so intense that concrete cracks, steel bends, and the air fills with choking dust. But the Poles do not flee. When the enemy infantry finally charge, expecting to find broken defenders, they run into a wall of resistance. Even as bunkers are overrun, the defenders fight room by room, corner by corner. Some have nothing left but bayonets, grenades, even their bare hands. The Germans, trained for victory, are stunned by the tenacity they face. Outgunned and outnumbered, the Polish soldiers turn to cunning. With only 20 anti-tank rounds, they wait until German infantry cluster around their armored vehicles, then open fire, cutting down the exposed men and blinding the tanks. These small victories light a fire of hope, even as the situation grows more desperate. Guderian, used to rapid victories, finds his frustration boiling over. In his war diary, he writes, "Resistance is fanatical. The Poles refuse to recognize when they are beaten." He increases the pressure, ordering wave after wave of attacks. But the defenders at Wizna refuse to yield. By September 10th, after 72 grueling hours, only 2 Polish bunkers remain. The landscape is a shattered ruin, the air heavy with smoke and the cries of the wounded. At noon, under a flag of truce, a German officer approaches the last Polish position. He carries a chilling ultimatum from Guderian himself. Surrender immediately, or all Polish prisoners will be executed. Inside the battered bunker, Raginis faces the hardest choice of his life. His men are exhausted, wounded, and nearly out of ammunition. 68 bullets remain between them. The bunker is half collapsed. To fight on is to die pointlessly. To surrender is to save his surviving men. Raginis gathers his soldiers one last time. "Men," he says quietly, "I order you to surrender your weapons and leave this bunker. You have done your duty. You have fought like lions." One by one, they file out, broken but alive. Only Raginis remains. As his last comrade leaves, a surge of air and a tremendous explosion echo through the ruins. Captain Władysław Raginis keeps his promise. He does not leave his post alive. The cost is staggering. Of the 720 defenders, only a handful survive the battle. The Germans suffer over 900 casualties, killed or wounded, and lose at least 10 tanks. But the true impact of Wizna is measured not in numbers but in legend. After the war, at the Nuremberg trials, Allied prosecutors questioned Guderian about Wizna. His answer is telling. Wizna was well defended by a local officer school. But there was no officer school. Guderian cannot bring himself to admit that ordinary Polish citizens, farmers, clerks, young men with barely any training, had held up his supposedly invincible force for 3 days, buying precious time for the Polish government to evacuate and for other units to regroup. Those 3 days at Wizna changed the course of history in subtle ways. The defense delayed the German advance, allowing thousands to escape capture. More importantly, it shattered the myth of Nazi invincibility. If 720 men could hold back 42,000, then the Nazis were not unstoppable. The legend of Wizna lives on. In modern Poland, memorials mark the battlefield. The story is taught in schools, sung in songs, and honored by generations. Even the Swedish metal band Sabaton immortalized the battle in their anthem 41, named for the impossible odds the defenders faced. Because sometimes, the greatest victories are not about defeating the enemy, but about showing the world the price you're willing to pay for freedom. As the sun sets over the fields of Wizna, the Polish eagle soars above the ruins. The story of Captain Raginis and his men remains a testament to the power of courage, sacrifice, and unbreakable resolve. Their stand reminds us that even in the darkest moments, ordinary people can become legends. If this tale of impossible courage moved you, take a moment to reflect on the choices faced by these men. Would you have stood your ground, fought to the last, or chosen to save your comrades? History is shaped by such decisions, by those who refuse to surrender, even when hope seems lost. And so, as we remember Wizna, let us honor all those who have chosen to fight for something greater than themselves. Their stories echo through time, inspiring us to stand firm in the face of adversity and to believe that even the smallest force can make a difference when the world needs heroes most.